Hello everyone, Jessica here and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm showing you a Halloween card made with the SSS Stamp Bwahaha stamp set. So to get started, I'm using the travel stamp platform, which is the smallest stamp platform that is out. Get it while you can, folks. I've seen them going on clearance lately at like Hobby Lobby, so but use whatever stamp platform you have. I'm going to stamp the spooky house onto a piece of 110-pound Neenah Solar White cardstock, and I'm using the SSS Stamp clear embossing ink for this because I'm going to be embossing the whole house image. And so far I'm still really liking this ink. I have used it several times since receiving it in one of the monthly card kits, and it's been pretty good. For the embossing powder, I'm using the Ranger Black Sparkle for the house, and this stuff is just so pretty. It's very sparkly. Even after heat setting it is still very sparkly, so this is a really fun embossing powder to use. And I let my heat gun warm up a bit, but this stuff still takes a little longer to melt than the average embossing powder, I think anyways. So that is why I'm heating the back side and the front. That way the paper doesn't warp too much. I also decided to stamp the Happy Halloween lettering, and this is like an outline so you can color inside the letters, and I'm using Gina K's Amalgam ink for that. Now I'm going to position the dies over the two elements. I'm using a washi tape. This I think came in a kit that I found at Costco a couple years ago, and it's kind of a low tack kind of washi tape, so I don't find that it actually tears the paper or anything when running it through my die cut machine. So I still have a bunch of it left, so I just go through a roll. I'm almost done with this one. For the Happy Halloween, I actually did place this die a little off kilter when I show you the cut image, so I do go ahead and stamp and die cut that again because I just didn't like the way that it turned out, which was completely my fault. I just didn't have it centered as well as I should have, which I'm kind of glad that I didn't actually color that in yet before die cutting it, because then I would have had to color twice. But you can tell it's just a little too low, or actually it's a little too high. But the house did cut pretty well, so I kept that one. For the background to these elements, I'm going to watercolor using the Kuretake Gansai Tambi watercolors. I have the 36 pan set, and this is the really dark purple. It looks a little more blue on camera, but it is a nice dark purple. And I'm using the gigantic water brush from Royal Langnickel. It's the, I think it's just called an MD, probably for medium, but it's a huge brush. And I don't really know why I picked this one. I just never really used it, so I thought I'd give it a try. And I really like how the bristles actually added a lot more of that splattery texture. So this watercolor does dry pretty light, so I'm going to layer it a couple times and heat set it throughout, then add some black watercolor to it to darken up that purple just a little bit more. Once it was dry, I ran it through with the second to largest Stitch Rectangle Die from SSS Stamp, and then I'm going to use a Copic opaque white and use my water brush and then splatter that onto that piece over the top of the watercolor using an acrylic block. The idea I had for this card was to actually make it like a window card, kind of a peekaboo kind of card. And so I'm taking the moon die and I'm cut that out of the watercolor paper, and that's Tim Holtz watercolor paper. Then I centered the paper and then traced that circle onto a card base. And then I lined the die over that drawn circle and cut that out. So I have a window through both. And then I can line that watercolor piece over the top and adhere it down. And then I just closed the card, circled it again using a pencil, because I thought I was going to actually stamp on the inside, but the circle stamp actually works right through the card, so it's a big enough opening. So I just did it that way. The magnet was a little too close to the stamp, so it did prevent the stamp from stamping all the way. I just moved that over and then stamped it a couple more times to get that ink evened out. Since I had stamped that on the inside, I'm going to go ahead and finish that part. And I'm using a couple of the bat images from the same stamp set. And then I can use the sentiment below that. I'm going to stamp that with the Distress Oxide Wilted Violet. And it just says, "Eat, drink, and be scary." Now I can color the Happy Halloween. I'm going to use the YR04 and then do a gradient coloring with the YR27. And my YR27 is really leaking. I've never actually had a Copic marker do that before. I've heard others had it happen, but this just, the ink is just, you can see it beading up at the tip because it's just flowing out of it so quickly. So to adhere the house down, I'm going to use multimedia matte glue. I die cut the Happy Halloween die 3 more times with Neenah 110-pound cardstock. And then I'm using my Xeron sticker maker, the X, to add adhesive to all those. And then I'm going to leave one on the backing paper and then stack the rest on top of that. That way I get this really nice raised image. And then for the last one, the one that I actually colored, I'm using multimedia matte glue. That way I have a little bit of leeway to move it around and get it situated, since it's the last die cut to the top. And once that has dried a little bit, I can adhere, pull that off of the back and then adhere it below the house. And I'm just centering that onto the watercolor paper. I didn't like how light the house windows were, so I did darken those up with a Y18 and called that one done. So pretty easy and quick. A fun little element using the window, and that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed today's video. You can connect with me on Instagram or email me directly or comment below with any questions you might have about card making. All the products I used today are linked on my blog. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to see the latest videos from me. I appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye! Meh, meh.